Hey Nintendo fans, it's TheJWittz here, and welcome to Nintendo Fact of the Day. Now, last Fact of the Day, we took a look at these, the Donkey Kong Bongo controllers, which are a little strange, but somewhat charming. Last time we took a look at Donkey Konga, a rhythm game used with these controllers, but today we're going to take a look at something a little different. Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. About half a year after the original Donkey Konga, Nintendo released another game for the Nintendo GameCube Bongos. The first and only game to be released for them outside of the Donkey Konga series. Donkey Kong Jungle Beat is a side-scrolling platformer. A platforming game controlled by these. Is it even possible to have a good platformer without a joystick? Surprisingly, yes. But in order to enjoy it, you have to forget everything you know about the side-scrolling classic Donkey Kong Country, and enjoy Jungle Beat on its own merits. The controls are straightforward enough. Tap on the right bongo to go right, left bongo to go left, both to jump, and clap to, well, clap, in-game. Control is surprisingly tight, and you can accomplish all kinds of cartwheels, ground pounds, and wall jumps just by tapping along with your hands. The only thing I don't like is this. I understand TVs were smaller back then, but why do you need a giant Donkey Kong in the corner when I can see the little one right in front of my face? Can you imagine if they did this in any other Donkey Kong game? I don't get it. Gameplay is broken up into various fruit-themed kingdoms, each with 3 stages, 2 traditional levels, and 1 boss battle. Between 16 kingdoms and a few bonus bosses, and you've got over 50 different stages to fight through. Believe it or not, controlling Donkey Kong with the bongos just works. We're not talking Donkey Kong Country levels of precision with the controller, but it's still surprisingly solid. The faster you tap on a single side, the faster you run, and each stage is designed around timing. Almost like a rhythm game. I'd argue that Donkey Kong Jungle Beat gives a better sense of rhythm than Donkey Konga. You learn this pretty quickly in the game after you beat your first kingdom. The game isn't really that difficult because you play with a sort of Sonic system of life. You collect bananas, and every time you get hit, you lose a few of them. If you just want to make your way through each stage, this is probably one of the easiest platformers you'll ever play. But if you get to the end, you'll realize, wait, what? I only got the bronze medal? And it's only here that the game drops a tip that wasn't in the original tutorial. The game just laughs in your face like, congrats on beating the whole stage the wrong way, dummy. The name of the game in Jungle Beat is Combos by Clapping. Clapping allows you to grab all of the bananas in a close radius around you, but the more bananas you grab at once, the more they're worth compared to just running through them. Also, if you never touch the ground, you can continue a giant combo that also amplifies your score. So ultimately, Jungle Beat stages become a game of perfection. You want to learn the layouts and maximize crazy clap-heavy combos. Then, and only then, will you maybe get your way to the gold medal scores. It's a definite challenge. Overall, the level designs are great, with many of them offering a route to combo your way through the entire stage. They find a lot of ways to give you unique methods of travel, from ground transport to birds to flower catapults. The only thing I hate are the water stages. Because yes, it is always the water stage that sucks. You have to either alternate taps or tap both bongos at the same time to go up or down, and it's just a mess to control. Another thing I dislike about Jungle Beat is that this combo system forces you to clap. Constantly. Nothing can prepare your hands for the beating they are about to receive. This game, in long bursts, actually hurts to play. At the very least, I recommend turning the clap sensitivity way down in the settings so that you don't have to clap as hard for it to register. But speaking of pain, by far one of the most satisfying aspects of this game is beating the tar out of each of these game's bosses. There's some cool variety, from a punch-out style duck and weave to a tennis-style return match to fighting a giant elephant cannon. However, there is a downside to the bosses. In every 4 kingdoms, you'll fight 4 types of bosses. But then, for each new pack of 4 kingdoms, you'll find the same 4 types of bosses. They get harder in each new set, with new moves, higher speed, and different layouts, but it's still kind of a buzzkill to be forced to fight the same 4 types of bosses over and over again. They're a blast to fight, it's just a shame we couldn't fight more of them. In the end, I think Donkey Kong Jungle Beat is a successful game, and definitely better than Konga. While the bongos can hurt from all the clapping and tapping, it's engrossing to accomplish crazy jumps and attacks simply by pounding on the bongo controller. It really gets you into the experience in a way that a normal controller just can't match. And speaking of normal controller, 4 years later, Nintendo added a new play control version of Jungle Beat for the Wii. You control them mostly using the analog stick and buttons, and shaking the Wiimote instead of clapping. There are a few minor changes to enemies and gameplay, and honestly, some of them are improvements. For one, no more giant Donkey Kong in the corner. Good.
And instead of losing bananas in normal stages, you have a 3-heart system, adding more difficulty to the game in terms of traditional platforming. This game actually separates the clap-grab skill and attacking by clapping into 2 separate skills. Once again, Jungle Beat does what it does best and teaches you crucial in-game skills after you've beaten levels the wrong way. It turns out that once again, you can grab multiple bananas by pressing A in midair, and the clap attack is done by shaking the Wiimote. But since they didn't tell me, I looked like an idiot for my first few stages. It's definitely not a bad experience, but if I had to pick between the Wii and the GameCube versions, I'd still take the original. There's just something so unique about physically moving to control your character. It gets you into an action rhythm through motion, and it's awesome. And that, unfortunately, ends our story for the Donkey Kong Bongos. It was unique and ambitious, but ultimately short-lived. Interestingly enough, there was actually a 3rd series intended to be played of the Donkey Kong Bongos. Barrel Blast, a racing game that would have used the bongos to control the carts. Instead, the game got pushed up to the Wii with mandatory Wiimote shake controls. It just isn't really that great. The controls are clearly intended for the bongos. I mean, just look at these vehicles. They literally have bongos on the front of them. It's not horrific like some might argue, but it's definitely lackluster, and shaking the nunchuck and Wiimote just isn't a good steering system. It's way too easy to shake both hands at the same time accidentally and make a jump by mistake. But for some reason, even with the Wii being bongo compatible, the Wii Barrel Blast never got bongo support and remains one of the most critically panned Donkey Kong games to this day.
That's all I've got to share for the Donkey Kong Bongo controllers. They were short-lived, but you have to admit, they were a pretty unique controller choice. Thank you guys for watching today's episode of Nintendo Fact of the Day, and as always, if you click this subscribe button right in the corner, you'll get alerts right when the new episode of Nintendo Fact of the Day comes out. I'll see you guys again soon with the next video.